So you can see my screen.
No, Vikas.
Okay.
No, Vikas.
Okay. Once again. Maybe now you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm just sharing that document. Okay, so yeah, in GRC, let's see what we are learning in this GRC introduction, a quick review. So this is our agenda, like GRC overview, initial setup, GRC risk and access risk analysis, emergency access management, user provisioning, role management, user access review, SOD review, then implementation methodology, key deliverables, case study, and wrap up. So these are the basic understanding about GRC and what is the different modules are there and why we have to go for GRC and some basic features about each modules that we are going to learn in this session. Okay, so let's move on. So I'm just moving to the first slide. So this is about our first slide, like GRC. So GRC, what is the meaning of GRC? So GRC means governance, risk and compliance. So governance means rule, compliance means following a rule, and risk is nothing but if people is not following the rule, there will be a risk. So simple example, like we always say, like every two-wheeler has to wear the helmet while riding the two-wheeler. So that is the rule defined by the government. So if the person who is following the rule, he is compliance to that rule. So if he is not following the rule, that means there will be a risk. So if he is not wearing the helmet, in case of road injury, that will be dangerous for life, right? So this is a kind of governance, risk and compliance is a combined word which is coming together. Okay, so companies or organization, why they want to implement SAP GRC or why they want to go for GRC? So because every organization, whenever we are creating any user, providing the access to the user, creating any role, providing emergency access, so these are the process they will follow. It's not that somebody came to the organization, you just create his ID. You have to follow a certain process. Like if he is joining in a particular department, so first his manager has to approve his ID that okay, yes, he joined in our department, like finance department. Let's approve his access to provide access in SAP system, maybe ECC system, and then the role owner has to approve that okay, he will be working as a finance manager, give him finance role. And once everything is done, then his ID will be gets created into the system and the role will be getting assigned to the user. So this is the simple process like we are going to follow manually if we don't have the GRC. But GRC will help you to keep all your approval process in the GRC system itself. So we don't have to have manual process, manual approvals things. And automatically using workflow, it is going to the respective owners automatically. Okay, and once everyone approve, the user ID will be gets created into the respective system and role will be assigned to the user. Okay, automatically, right? So GRC will help in two ways. Like one is the following the process, and second, all the automation will be happening. Okay. So whenever we call about like governance, risk and compliance, which is an integrated approach. Okay. So means governance, risk and compliance, all will be working together. It will be not separate. There is a rule, there is a following of the rule. If not following, there is a risk. Okay. Any rule will be gets created to reduce a risk. So this is just a picture like if people is not using GRC, what is the specific disadvantage they have. So assume it is a ECC, BW and GRC. So if people is not using GRC, so if any new user is coming here, he has to approve. This person has to approve, and once he is approving, then only his ID will be gets created. Similarly, if somebody coming to the BW team, his ID has to be created here with the approval. So all this approval process will be the manual process, right? So the security person has to create the same ID. If the ID will be same for throughout the three system, like security admin is joining to the organization, so his ID will required in ECC, BW and SRM, three systems. So what will happen? The security admin has to create the ID using manually like SU01 and create his ID. Okay, similarly here and here. So what will happen? It will take a lot of time to create those ID and provide access to the user. Also the approval process, it will be a manual process. Okay, there will be no automation things will be there. So these are the advantages. Like the first disadvantage is lack of visibility. So nobody knows that how many users gets created here, here or here, who approve that. So it is lack of visibility is one important factor of disadvantage. Then the poor integration. So there is no integration between each other. Okay, the duplication of work. So the duplication of work in the sense we are creating the same ID here, here and here 3 times. So time is also more, and providing access to the user is also taking more time. Okay, because with GRC in one shot we can create ID in all these 3 systems, and you can store all the approval in GRC itself. So here if suppose some auditor is asking, can you give me the information like who asked you to create ID in ECC, BW or SRM system? So as a security consultant we are going to check the change history here, here and here. Then only we are able to provide the information to the auditor. So this will take a lot of time for the auditor to provide the information to the auditors. Okay, so these are the disadvantages. Then we are wasting the resource. So maybe we require 3 security person to manage these 3 system security. Okay, similarly for the basis person we need 3 basis person to manage this. So we need, means we are wasting the resources to manage this system. Also we are wasting the information. So sometimes people will left the organizations and no approval we are getting from the system directly. So these are the disadvantages there. So let's see what is the advantage if we use GRC. So let's skip this slide. So if we use the GRC, these are the advantages there. So this you assume like this is GRC system, and GRC will be gets connected with your ECC, SRM and BW system. So what will happen if any user is coming and his IDs gets created in all these 3 systems? So manager will raise one access request for all the 3 systems together. So it will send to his respective owners, and once everyone approve, his ID will be gets created automatically in 3 systems. So that means the integration is there, like GRC system integrated with all the satellite system in the landscape. Second advantage is like it is a streamlined process is there. Either you create ID here, it will be created here, here or here, same way. Okay, same process. Transparency is more. So from login to GRC we can see which IDs gets created here, who approved this ID, which role is getting assigned, whether SOD is done or not, what emergency access is doing, which transaction they are running. All the things we can do here with the help of GRC. So we are able to provide access quickly. That means we are making end user productive quickly. So which is saving time for us also as a support consultant, and also for the end user. So time is money. That means if we are able to provide access quickly, that means we are saving the time. Right? Any question?
No question, Vikas.
Okay. Then some more features like openness is there, fast driven analysis, clear and compelling story. So if we are using GRC, so we can provide the reports, and in this report we have the quantitative and qualitative evidence, like who approved, how many user is using SU01, PFCJ, how many risks we have, which firefighter used which transaction, which role is used most number of time. All this information we can find from the GRC itself. Okay, we don't have to log in into individual system to provide the information. Okay, so these are the basic advantage what we have with the GRC. So this is about the platform integration. So by default, whenever we are purchasing GRC, access control, process control and risk management coming together in the system. And if you want to implement other module of GRC, so that we have to purchase, for example, global trade services, fraud management or audit management. So these are the separate modules which client has to purchase separately from the SAP. But if they purchase GRC, so by default these three modules coming together, right? So access control is to controlling the access, means transaction code and user ID. Process control is protecting the process. Okay, so if we are giving access for the approving a sales order, so the user is controlled with the help of like the value which he is approving the sales order. So if we make a control like the user is able to approve the sales order worth 1 lakh, but if he is approving the more than 1 lakh or 10 lakh, for example, sales order, there will be alert will be going to the control owner. Okay, so that will be managed in the process control. Whereas the risk intelligence, what we do here, like all the risk related information, risk different type of risk which is there in the organization can be managed into the risk management. For example, like a environmental kind of risk or maybe fire safety risk. Okay, so all kind of different kind of risk which is required or which is there for a organization can be managed, and this module is used to reduce the risk. Okay, so any question until here?
No, Vikas.
Okay, so here if we say like GRC 12 architecture wise or platform integration wise, so GRC 12 is having sharing the platform, like all the any of the module we are implementing, all will have the SPRO to implement any of the module, and also NWBC the same platform will be used for all the three module or all the module of SAP GRC. And where we saying like sharing configuration, some of the configuration which we are doing in the SPRO will be shared between each other. So if we are creating a connector, that means the connector setting will be used in process control or risk management. Similarly, the sharing of master data. So if we are creating a control owner, so that same control owner can be used here in the process control. Or similarly, if we are creating any organization structure, so that can be used here and here. Okay, so that means that we are sharing the platform, we are sharing the some of the configuration, we are sharing some of the master data, not all but some. Okay, fine. So this is about the product evaluation about GRC. So GRC we have like latest version GRC 12.0, then we have GRC 10.1, and then before that we have GRC 10.0. Before that many other version is there like 5.3, 5.2, 5.1, 4, 4.12, and before that also Versa module we have. Okay, so this is about your GRC 12.0 architecture. So let's see what is there in the architecture. So here in the middle, whatever you can see, it's nothing but the central component of GRC. So in this GRC access control, we have 4 modules, sub module of access control like access risk analysis, business role management, access request management, emergency access management. So all these 4 modules is there for GRC access control. And in GRC 12, the important one difference is like we have the additional front end server which is there for SAP UI, that means for supporting Fiori application. So that is the new thing compared to 10.1 to 12. Okay, whatever you can see in the left side or here is the system that we are able to connect with the GRC, like we can connect SAP IDM system, SAP portal system, ECC system, for example S4HANA system also we can connect, and even we can connect the cloud system also. So these are the cloud system: Ariba, Concur, S4HANA Cloud Edition, SuccessFactors. So these system also we can connect with the GRC, which was not there before in the previous version. In 10.1 version we are not able to connect any of your cloud system. So that is the second difference compared to 10.1 to 12. Okay, in interviews somebody asking like what is the difference, you have these difference like like Fiori, and second is the cloud connector. Okay, we will see the next one. What is the other difference? So until here, any question?
No.
Okay. Even we can connect non-SAP system also with the GRC, and we can connect the BI system, BW system. We are able to connect GRC search, and also we are able to connect HANA DB system with the GRC. So these are the system we are able to connect in the GRC 12.0 system. Okay. Here in the bottom, whatever you can see, we can store whatever information or whatever approval request, emergency access log, everything you can store into any of the database. That is one option. Or if you want to connect, or if you want to upload or made GRC as a HANA database, so you can implement HANA as a database. So GRC will be installed on HANA DB. That is also possible. So HANA, we have two options. Either you can install on any of the traditional database, or either you can install GRC 12 on HANA DB. That is also possible. Directly you can install here. Okay. So here whatever you can see, that is the access, what are the different way to access GRC system. So the traditional way, like SAP GUI, with the help of user ID and password, we are able to log in into the backend system. And even in GRC 12, the additional thing, like we can able to log in with the help of mobile, we can able to log in with the help of Fiori application using Fiori Launchpad, and also the normal way, like NWBC, with the help of NWBC also we can access the front end GRC front end system. And if you install Portal, with the help of Portal also we are able to log in. So these are the various way to log in the GRC system. So here is the third difference, like mobile application or Fiori application, we are not able to log in directly. We have to configure that. So it is pre-configured now. Okay. So here whatever you can see, like if we are not, your client is looking for more interactive report on GRC, so what we can do, we can install the BobJ on HANA DB, GRC HANA DB, and we can create an interactive report using BobJ system. Okay, so interactive graph, interactive report, interactive risk report, dashboards will get created with the help of BobJ system. Okay, so any question here?
No, yes.
Okay, so just going to the next slide. So here is the version wise. If we say like GRC 12, the version name was access risk analysis, access request management, emergency access, and business role management. Process control, the name is same. Previous versions, like before 10.0, the access control component name was different. Like we have risk analysis and remediation, compliance, user provisioning, super user privilege management, and enterprise role management. So only the name change especially, but the features are same. Okay, so here we are analyzing risk. Here also we are analyzing risk. It is about how to provide access to the user. Here also we are providing access to the users, user management related activity. Super user privilege management related to elevated access, which we are going to provide to the users. Here also we are doing same. Here only the name change, enterprise role management. Here the name is business role management, but we are processing or creating roles, modifying roles in this module. Okay, rest two is same, process control and risk management, the name is still same. Okay, so going to the next slide, platform integration. So whenever we talk about the platform integration, means access control, process control and risk management, all three will be residing into same SAP platform. Okay, and then whenever we want to implement either access control, process control and risk management, so we are able to use a reference IMG, means SPRO. SPRO transaction we can use either to implement access, process or risk management. That is one thing. We are saving some configuration data and master data, which will be saving cost, saving time. Time is cost, right? Time in inversal of cost, right? So then reducing maintenance and effort cost estimation ongoing. So if we use GRC, so that it will reduce the support activity, like if we are using creating user, changing role, so it will reduce the cost. Okay, maintenance cost will be reduced. and if we are using GRC, it will also reduce the license cost as well, right? So any question here? Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So this is about the single user interface. So in GRC we have the NWBC screen. So in NWBC screen, these are the different work sets are there, like my home, master data, rule set, assessment, access management, report and analytics. So these different work sets are there. So we do some of the activity in each of the work sets. So let's see what are these activities are there. So like in my home, we have the work inbox, ad hoc task, my object, document search, my delegation, and my inbox. So my inbox, my home is especially used for all the agents. Agent, whenever we call here in GRC as an agent, means the people who either approve or either the person who will be notified for any of the event. Okay. So in case of any approvers, so whenever we raise the request or whenever the request will be sent, it will be sent to his inbox, like GRC work inbox. So he can find all the requests here in the work inbox and approve or reject whatever action he want to take, he can take from here. Okay. Okay, so there are many other options are there, like ad hoc task is there. He can search the task here. If you want to see like his object, the object which is related to him, he can find like what option he used, rejection or approval, he can find from here. He can search some document also, and in case of he is going on the leave, he can delegate his responsibility to other approver. Okay. And in my profile, he can see his name, ID and other stuff related to him. Okay. So in master data, especially for in terms of access control, like organization and mitigation control, these two especially item is important for us, like for access control, regulation and policy, objective, activity and process. So all these are related to your process control and risk management. So for access control purpose, organization and mitigation control is related to access control. Okay. In rule setup, like we have access rule management, critical rule, access rule, exception rule, generating rule. So all this are related to ARA. Okay. Access risk analysis module. Rest is related to your process control. Okay. Assessment is completely related to process control and risk management. We don't do anything here in terms of access control. Whereas access control is completely related to your access control only. Okay. Like GRC, role assignment, access risk analysis, mitigation, access request administration, request creation, certification, mass role maintenance, super user assignment, super user maintenance, super user management, role mining, alert, scheduling. All this we do in this section. Okay. All the things related to access control. Report analytics is common for access control, process control and your risk management. All three will have this individual reports in report and analytics. Right? Any question?
No.
No, yes.
Okay. Okay, good. So these are the specific return of investment or advantage you can see if we are using GRC. Okay. So here you can see.
Because your voice is breaking.
Oh, okay, okay. One second, I just come a little bit further. You can hear me now properly?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are specific advantage what we have while using GRC. Like first thing, improve end user productivity. So if we are using GRC, that means we are able to provide access quickly to the user and also the following the approval process as well. Okay. So that is first thing. Enhance user experience through self-service. So if we implement SAP self-service in GRC, so that the user is able to unlock and reset their password by themselves. Okay. So that is also one advantage. So end user experience is more, so he don't have to raise a request to unlock his ID or reset his password and wait for security team to reset it. He can do by himself. Okay, then reducing challenge for integration, organization change and expansion. So in case if organization is expanding and some new system is coming to the landscape, so it is easy to connect those system with GRC system. Okay, we have to basic configuration is still same, we have to add some connector and some settings we have to do, but we can add many system as many we want to integrate with GRC. Improved economics of scale through reduction of software licensing. So that means if we are using GRC, so by default we are getting access control, process control and risk management together. So that means we don't have to purchase separate license for process control and risk management. So if any client want to utilize the process control or risk management, so we don't have to pay separate license for that. Okay. Reducing cost of associated with manual control and review through automation and security review and reporting. So the meaning here, so if we don't have GRC, so what we are doing, we are controlling, if we want to find the SOD, we have to maybe create one Excel file and keep all SU0 and PFCG kind of transaction code into Excel file, and from there we can able to access that, right, or map that by downloading from the file and all. But with the GRC we don't have to do this, because we can create a risk rule set and SOD functions directly in GRC, and from GRC we can fetch the report, like which are the user who have SU0 and PFCG as an example of SOD, right? So it will save our cost. If we have 10 system, and in 10 system if you want to search like SU0 and PFCG who have SU0 and PFCG who have SAP all assigned, so it will take a lot of time. If GRC is not there, every security consultant have to log in individually into the system. Maybe he run the SUIM and search who have the SAP all profile assigned to him. But with the GRC we don't have to log in into any of the system. Directly from the GRC system we are able to see who are the people who have SAP all profile assigned to them in one shot, right? So it is just an example, so which I am just telling you, so that will save our cost to do or manage the manual controls. Okay, we don't have to do login into the system, like which firefighter used which transactions, what activity he done, which field he changed, which value he changed. All the things we can find with the help of GRC itself. Okay, any question until here?
No, Vikas.
Okay, value proposition, indirect finance impact, security and compliance. So if we are using GRC, that means it is increasing productivity and the downtime is less. Second thing, improving confidentiality, integrity, availability of critical user. We can find who are the critical user, who have the critical role assigned to him, like a payroll role. If suppose you want to say who have assigned with the payroll role, who have assigned with the SAP all profile, who have SOD risk. Okay, all these things we can find with the help of GRC. Reduce overall cost of compliance, including application risk assessment and audit costs. So we are able to provide audit information quickly using GRC. Increase end user satisfaction, they already covered. Enable new application channel and reduce time to market. So we are able to implement the new system quickly and then go to the market. Go to the market in the sense we are able to implement that easily. Okay, now access control functions and features. So just going to the next slide. So here in this slide, if you see, all the module like role management module, user provisioning module, emergency access and risk analysis, all these 4 modules is integrated with each other. Okay, so if we are creating any role, before creating a role itself we can see if we add a new transaction into existing role, whether it is a SOD or no. Okay, so we can find before creating a role also, if we are creating a role and somebody asks, okay, please add SU0 and PFC, just an example. So we can run the risk analysis and find, okay, there is a risk. If we add SU01 and PFCG, we can send the risk report to the role owner, and then role owner has to decide it. So the meaning here means we can check the role. Second thing, If we are creating a user provisioning means if we are creating a new user, if we are modifying the existing user. So before adding any new role or before creating a user, we can find if it is a SOD or not, okay, with the help of risk analysis. In emergency access also we can find if the firefighter user run any SOD transaction or not, okay. So that is the meaning, like all the four modules integrated with each other, right? Any question?
Finding risk in role means we will create role in BRM, right?
Yes.
During that time itself, we can find, or once the role is created, then we
No,
can.
before creating a role itself, before generating the role itself, we can find it is a
Okay.
risk or not.
Okay.
Even we can do the simulation also.
Okay.
Okay, before even creating a role also we can run the risk analysis as a simulation, like you have already existing role and somebody asks, okay, please add this transaction or this authorization object into role, okay. So
Okay.
what we do, we run the risk analysis on role level and then add the
Okay.
transaction code on authorization object as a simulation level and run, and then it
Okay.
will find, okay, which kind of risk it will bring,
Okay.
okay. So so the meaning here, it is integrated with each other, so we can reuse or utilize the ability of risk management in all the three other modules, okay. Clear? Any other person, any question? Rupali, your side?
No, Vikas.
Okay. Anu, from your side?
No, Vikas.
Okay. Cynthia, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So going to the next, like these are the specific module and features are there. What we do actually. So the basic introduction, like in ARA, what we do, in AM, what we do. So in ARA is access risk analysis. So in this module, especially the formal name before name, in 5.3 it is RAR, risk analysis and remediation. In this, what we do, we find especially the SOD kind of risk. We find the sensitive transaction. We define the sensitive role. We define the sensitive profile. So all this thing we can define, manage. We are defining defining the rule set. We are defining the mitigation ID. So all these things we do actually in ARA. In ARM, we'll see in detail what are the different more features are there. It is just a basic hint to you what we do here. So in emergency access management, like formally we call superuser privilege management, and in this we are able to provide the elevated access to the end user in the sense end support user, especially like our functional team and technical team, not for all the end user, especially only the key user can get the access, and they get the firefighter access in production system in case of any emergencies there, okay. So request can be created, and whatever activity is done by the firefighter ID, that can be checked using firefighter log.
Emergency access won't be created for business users.
Yes, not for business user. It is mostly
Only for
99%.
okay.
It is for and
Consultants.
your consultant, technical or functional, or 1% you can say for some key users who knows some extent of your functionality more.
Okay. Okay.
No core end user will get the firefighter ID, okay.
Sorry, because I didn't get you.
Yeah, no core end user will get the firefighter ID.
Okay.
So going to the next one, so access request management, so formally called like user provisioning or access request management. So in this, like all the user admin activity, like creating a user, adding or modifying any user, locking the user, unlocking the user, okay, deleting a user, all the user admin related activity we do in this module, access request management, Okay, we can define even the provisioning setting, workflow, risk analysis, periodic risk analysis, SOD review. All this thing we do in this access request management. Okay, in business role management, so it is formally called BRM, or previously it called ERM. Okay, enterprise role management. In this we are creating a role, developing a new role, or modifying any existing role, and we can manage the development process of the role, how the role creation process should follow. Okay, here we define the methodology, naming convention of the role. So for each different system, like for ECC different naming convention, for BW maybe different naming convention will be there. Okay, so those naming convention we can define in the BRM module on, and also the role creation process, and before creating a role we can check the SOD risk also. Okay, so these things we do in this business role management. Okay, any question before moving?
Yes,
No.
Vikas. Yeah, actually, this ARM is related to only user ID, means user access, and BRM is related to role
Role
modification.
changes, role modification or changes, yes.
Okay, okay. And what is then process control?
So the process control, once suppose we given the access to the user, like example, we have given the access using GRC access control to give him access for approving a sales order. Okay, so whether to give the approving approving a sales order like VF01. So VF01 is to approve the sales order. Okay,
Yeah.
so in access control the only option like either we can approve or either we can reject. Okay, so either you can
Okay.
approve the request or either you can reject the request. Okay,
Okay.
so so the meaning here, like if suppose you want to make a control like the user whom we have given the access for VF01, like approving a sales order. So
Hmm.
so within that, if you want to make a control that if he is able to approve sales order worth 1 lakh, then it is fine. But we make one control that if he is approving the sales order more than 1 lakh, then it will send one alert message to the controller. Means we are
Okay.
monitoring that what he is doing and how much value he is approving, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
so this we cannot control using access control. Either you give transaction or don't give. So that is access.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
But after giving the access, how you manage or how you monitor that which value of sales order he is approving. So for that, what we do, we create one process, one control for process control. Okay, and then this control will be always running and checking which value he is approving. So once it is approving more than 1 lakh, automatically one alert message goes to the control owner, and control owner then asks the question, why you approve this? You have the proper justification or no?
Okay.
Okay.
And is there any restrictions? Can we do this type of restrictions via role changes?
No,
Like,
no.
but
In-
okay.
in
So
the
this
role,
can be done by process control only.
yeah, because in the role we have very few. Like if you give like VF01, you have only authorization object and values. Like you can maximum mention like either the display activity or change activity or approve activity, right? But if you are giving approve activity, within approve you cannot make the control the value based, right?
Okay.
You can control like maximum like org values, like you can approve for the company code 1000 or the company code 2000, right? But within company code 1000 you cannot approve that. Okay, no, don't approve the sales order more than 1 crore.
Limit.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
The limit part we cannot set in the role.
Okay.
Correct, no?
Yeah.
So it is not only like it is. I just given the example like a process control only in terms of like your transaction, but it is not always with the transaction, but like your control. If your company is defining one process, example, okay. Which
So, means process control is not predefined something. We can customize it according to our customers that requirement.
correct.
Means if customer wants that I want here restrictions, so we can customize it in a process control part.
Right.
Okay, okay.
So one more example, like for example, if your organization say like every person who is coming to the organization or organization premise always wear that ID card. Okay, so that is the process they have defined, because they don't want like any unauthorized person or illegal person coming to the organization premise and do some illegal activity, right? So what they will do,
Yeah.
they will keep the security guard, that is one thing, and they can keep the CCTV camera to monitor that whether people is coming and then wearing this ID card or no, right? So this is a kind of process they can capture into SAP and make the process and controlling that. Okay, whenever any person is coming and swapping to the swap card or not, attendance card, attendance swapping. So these are some example of the process control like we can do, not only always like in SAP, even if you connected that other system, that also you can manage using GRC. You can connect the non-SAP
Okay.
system to capture your CCTV footage, and then you can process it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry because Girish here.
Yeah. Hi,
Sorry
Girish.
for the late join.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi. Okay, I was in meeting, so I could not able to join.
Okay, no problem, Girish. So we just cover basic introduction. Okay, so we'll go through from here. So until here, just we cover like what is GRC, why GRC is required, what is the advantage of GRC, some GRC 12 architecture that we covered, and right now we are covering like different module. What is the features are there? What are the basic thing we do in this each module? That's we are covering. So the architecture part, introduction part, we'll tell you after the class. That is also okay.
So how many sessions over so far today? I mean, so far till now.
Half of the session is over.
No. I'm saying that
First, this is first class.
This is going to be first class. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay. So these are the modules, like we have access request management, business rule management. Okay, in business rule management, especially like building the role, checking the SODs. These things we do in this business rule management in brief, very brief. So in the configuration wise, like if you want to configure access control, so we have to do the configuration in two places, like in the backend system using IMG. Whenever we call a configuration guide or IMG, that is the meaning like SPRO we have to run, and also we have to run the or do the configuration in front end side as well. So that we call as a front end configuration, which we will be doing with the help of NWBC transaction code. So we have to learn only two transactions. Remember, two transactions, SPR and NWBC. So these two transactions is required to configure GRC system. Fine. Okay, so now coming to the next point, like these are some detail level analysis, risk analysis and key features what we do in access risk analysis. So in access risk analysis, especially like we are creating a SOD critical SOD risk, we are creating a critical risk, okay, critical profile and critical roles also we are defining. So all different kind of risk we are defining into access risk analysis module. Okay, and we can check the risk analysis on the user level and also on the role level, and maybe also profile level also if you want to do the profile level risk analysis. So we can run the risk analysis on these three parts: user level, role level and risk level. Okay, so the meaning here, like user level, what is the meaning? Like if one user have SU01 and PFCG, that is a kind of risk. Okay, so the meaning of role level, in which role we have the SU01 and PFCG. Okay, in which profile we have the SU01 and PFCG. So we can run the risk analysis on individual level. Okay, so what are the different key features? So these are the key features, like whenever we run the risk analysis, so we can modify the risk analysis report customization output as a customization. Like some of the customization we can do with the help of access risk analysis reports. So if you want to make like first field, you want to move to the third field, okay, third column, that we can do. If you want to short a specific risk ID on the alphabetical level, that we can do. So some of the basic settings customization we can do for access risk analysis reporting. Okay. Even if you want to integrate mitigation control, if you are creating a mitigation control ID, and we can run the report to find the mitigation control related information. Okay, so here mitigation control, whenever we talk about mitigation control, so in case of any risk is there for a user, and if you want to allow the risk to a user, so in that sense we have to create a mitigation control ID, and then the mitigation control ID will be assigned to the user. So mitigation is nothing but allowing the risk with the permission of the approval, permission or approval. Okay. Full integration with user profile, user provisioning, role management, and emergency access management component. So ARA is fully integrated with all the other 3 modules. Customizable default rules set up the capability to perform cross system analysis and SAP and non-SAP system. So we can SAP provide actually the SAP standard rule set that we call as a default rule set. So SAP will provide like whatever they feel like a standard T code, authorization object and value should be the SOD. So they will provide the different rule set for different systems, like for ECC, BW, HANA system, S4 HANA system. They will provide the different rule set, and we can run the risk analysis based on these rule sets, and also we can customize the rule set as well. So if you want to create our own rule set, or if you want to modify the SAP defined rule set, we have the capability to modify those rule set and use it. Okay. Even SAP provide the any question?
If any new transactions are created by functional consultant, we can also add those transactions in the rule set, right?
Yes, we can add into the existing rule set, or if you want to add into default rule set, that is also possible. Any of the Z transaction can be added into existing rule set. Okay. And even we have the workflow which is given by the SAP. So if you want to utilize the workflow, like if you are assigning a mitigation control to the user, or maybe if you are creating any risk, so it is also going for the approval. It is not directly saying we can utilize this workflow as well. So we will see that example once we come to the workflow section. So how to utilize the mitigation control ID if we are creating a mitigation control ID and assigning to the user or the role. So it will be going to the mitigation control owner for approval. Okay. Or on the same way, like if you are creating any risk, like a Z transaction, you are adding 2 different Z transaction and creating a risk. So it will not directly save into your GRC system. First it will go for the risk owner for approval. Once risk owner see that whether you are adding the correct transaction, adding the correct authorization object and value, when he is satisfied, he will approve, and then only you are able to do the risk analysis on this new risk. Okay, so that we are going to see anyway once we come to this ARM part. Any question until here?
No, because
okay. So
because
Girish.
because is it going to be a recording session or non-recording? Since this timings, usually I mean it's going to be an office hours of mine. So if it is recorded, definitely if I skip any meeting also, any classes also, so that would be helpful. That is what I want to say.
Yeah, we will actually. I am not recording it ideally. Okay. But if you miss, we have the classes. Actually, we will take you to other class for missing thing.
Sure.
Okay, so we will discuss anyway, Girish. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so here, in access risk analysis. Okay, so this is covered. Okay, just go to the emergency access. Okay, we are at emergency access. So emergency access management. So these are the specific key features are there. Like we have the centralized access administration for firefighter ID. So whenever we say like centralized access administration, so the meaning here, like either you use the centralized firefighter ID or decentralized firefighter ID. Like for the firefighter ID with the firefighter controller and owner, this configuration that we do directly into GRC system. So that is what we call as a centralized access administration. Okay, so centralized and decentralized concept is different, but even though if you want to use the decentralized firefighter ID concept, the admin part we do from the GRC only. Like centralized in the sense, like if you want to do the firefighter activity through GRC, that is what we call as a centralized one. And decentralized means if you want to do the firefighter activity, we have to log in into individual satellite system. Whenever we call it satellite, in the sense the system which we are connecting the GRC. Okay, so in case if you want to do the firefighter activity, we have to log in not to the GRC but to the ECC system as example, and do the firefighter activity, that we call as a decentralized one. But even though for decentralized one, the firefighter ID to the controller, firefighter ID to the owners, that we do into GRC only. Okay, even we have the workflow also. So if you want to utilize the workflow based approval for firefighter ID, we can utilize the workflow also. Okay, and also for creating the firefighter log review and approval also, we have the workflow that can be utilized. We can define the criticality level of the emergency access. Okay, and also if you want to use, you can perform the field level reporting also. Field level reporting means if a firefighter user is using some of the transaction, and if he is changing any of the value by using the transaction code, so what is the old value, what is the new value, all thing will be get recorded into the GRC, and that we can see in the field level reporting as well. Okay, and this firefighter is also linked with the SOD risk review ARA, so we can run the risk analysis on the firefighter log also, so that we can see what are the different activities being performed by firefighter user ID. Okay, we can capture the reason code, we can create a reason code and see that what is the planned activity done by the firefighter ID. Any question here?
Yeah, Vikas, can you repeat the centralized and decentralized firefighter access once again?
Yeah, so this see centralized firefighter ID, what we do, so whenever you want to have access for firefighter ID, suppose one ABAP consultant is there, okay, and he want to do the firefighter activity in the ECC production system, okay. So he don't log in into ECC production system. Okay, what he do, he will log in with his GRC system, GRC logon in GRC system, and run the transaction GRC_EAM, and once he run the transaction, it will take him with the firefighter ID into ECC system through GRC. He doesn't have to log in. Okay, so with the GRC he is able to log in ECC, that we call as a centralized firefighter ID. Clear? Whereas in decentralized firefighter ID, he has to log in, the aware person has to log in ECC system with his ID, okay, and then run the decentralized firefighter transaction, and then by running this transaction in ECC, he is taken to the firefighter ID with ECC to ECC itself.
Okay.
Okay, so that we call as a decentralized firefighter ID.
Okay.
Okay.
So, what if I am having firefighter ID in BI ECC? So, if I am running GRC_EAM, so means
from
will
there
it
you
give
can,
the
yeah, from there you can select which system you want to select. You will see the option of both the system together, and it's your choice. Whichever you want to click, you log in into ECC. You click on BW, you log in into BW.
okay.
Whereas in decentralized, individually you have to log in. If suppose for BW also you have the firefighter ID, so you first log in with your ID in BW, then run the transaction, then you are able to run the, you get the firefighter ID logon or session.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
clear na?
Yeah. Got it.
Okay, so the advantage is, and there is some advantage and disadvantage also. That is also one kind of interview question people is asking. So like, what is the advantage is there in centralized firefighter ID and decentralized firefighter ID? So like in centralized ID, we don't have to log in into individual system to do the firefighter activity, but and that is the disadvantage for decentralized one. So like, we have to log in into individual satellite system in order to do the firefighter activity. Those many number of time we have to log in, correct? But this is also one advantage also for decentralized. Like in case your GRC system is not working, so you cannot do the firefighter activity. Okay, so
Yeah.
so that is the become advantage for your decentralized one. So if even if your GRC system is down, you are still able to do the firefighter activity using decentralized firefighter ID concept.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other person, any question? Anu, Grish, Anchita?
No, because
Okay.
So, Vikas,
Hmm.
what would be the user type of firefighter ID in centralized and decentralized?
Both,
Means, is there
both,
any difference or
no, both is same, like a service user
same?
only.
Service user? Okay.
Okay. So going to the next slide. So this is about the ARM.
In satellite systems, if the users are created as dialog, means also through firefighter ID it will become a service.
Yeah, it is service only always.
Okay.
Okay. So here the next module, like access request management. So in ARM module, what we do here, so if you see, like, first see the features also. So like, it is a highly customized workflow, so we can use the SAP standard workflow and do the customization. We can do the customization for access request form also, the form which is appearing for creation of the user, that also can be used. We can utilize the password self-service capability also, so which will reduce the burden of the help desk people. Okay, and if we are using GRC access request management, which will giving the streamlined process, either you create access in ECC, BW or any other system, that is also possible with the help of access request management. Even we can perform the direct and indirect provisioning. So that means direct in the sense, if suppose you want to create a user using SU01 and assigning the role, so that is we call as a direct provisioning, whereas indirect provisioning is required for the HR system, for example. So if you have the HR system and instead of assigning role to the user directly into his ID, you can assign the role to the user in his position or maybe his job or maybe his org unit, that we call as a indirect provisioning. But the meaning here, with the help of ARM, you can perform direct or indirect, both the provisioning can be possible. Okay, and we can do the SOD risk analysis. We can make mandatory, so that whenever we send the request, we can run the risk analysis, or while approving the request also, the stage level, the people can approve, or agent can run the risk analysis and approve the request. Okay. So these are the specific features what we have for ARM. Okay, and here in ARM, two important things are also there in terms of security or GRC consultant. Like, we have to always learn, like, what is MSMP and what is BRF plus. So in MSMP, like, these are the multi-stage multipath is the name or definition of MSMP, and in each MSMP we have the 7 steps. So these 7 steps have the specific meaning. So like process global ID, whereas all the SAP defined processes are there in the step first. So like, if you want to create user, so we can use the process ID for user creation process. If you want to utilize for mitigation ID. Suppose if you are assigning the mitigation ID to the user, so if you want to make a utilization of this workflow, then we have to select this mitigation control ID workflow process ID. Okay, so here all the process ID will be defined here. Don't worry, it is just an introduction, just to give you idea like what we do in each step. So if you want to modify the standard step or standard access request management workflow which is defined by or given by the SAP, first we have to tell that SAP where we want to modify the or do the customization of the workflow. So that first step is select role modification, and in the second step, like whenever we are creating any BRF plus rule, that will be added into this rule. Otherwise, if we don't add, all the SAP defined or GRC defined rule, standard rule will be added into second step. Okay, third step is like which are the people who will be receiving the request, like your manager is there, role owner is there, or security lead. So these are the kind of agent which is given in the third point or third step. So we can add our own agents also, we can define our own agents in as a customization in maintain agents. Variable and template, like the agent will receive some mails or information, so what is the template of that mail, what is the variable we can use in the mail. Okay, so that we can define in the fourth step. Fifth step, like a user, whenever user is selecting the request type, like a creation of user, modification of user, so how many path it has to go, so that path will be defined into fifth step. So like if a user is selected the lock user, so it will not go for create user, like create user may be having 3 level of approval, but locking a user or unlocking a user doesn't need like 3 level of approval, only security lead approval is enough. Okay, so these step, independent step, we are defining in the fifth step. Sixth step is to mapping, like user is selected which request type. So if user is selecting the request type create, link it to create path. If user is selecting locking the user, select the lock path. So that matching will be doing here, and once all the changes will be done, so we have to generate the version and we have to keep the changes into the transport request, so that the changes will be moved to the quality and production system later. Right? So any question?
I have a query in the last step. Why it should be moved to quality and production?
Because
Are we doing this configuration in development?
yes, definitely.
Okay.
The reason if we are not doing here, so that means we are doing the rework in quality and production, the same rework, right? If we do here
Okay.
itself, we don't do any rework, only basis will import, automatically these changes will be there in quality and
The
also
same
in production.
configuration will be available in quality and production.
Quality and production, yes.
Okay.
Okay, that will waste time for everyone. You can do manually and there is a chance that you can miss some of the step, right?
Even that TR can be imported to other ECC systems as well, right?
No, but the connector and other things will be different, no?
Okay.
And here maintain rules means
The,
configuration of rule sets, or
no, no.
is it?
This maintain rule means the rule like the rule which we create into BRF plus, no? Using BRF plus logic which we are creating. So that rule we have to add here in this maintain rule set. Maintain rules here. So that rule and rule set is different. The ARA rule is like whenever we say like ARA rule, where it is a adding of 2 different transaction and creating a SOD rule.
Hmm.
Here in ARM, the rule is nothing but BRF plus rule. The logic which we want to make use of BRF plus, and then with the help of BRF plus, it will move on to other steps, subsequent steps.
Okay, and what is variables here?
Yeah,
Template, we know the format of template of mail.
yeah.
Will
So mail will have the specific template, like a request ID is an example of your request, right?
hmm.
So the request number is a kind of variable which will be keep changing. If you send one request, the request number is 100. If somebody else is sending it, request number is 102, maybe 101, right?
Okay.
So this will be a kind of variable which can be utilized into the template.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one second, I just log in to give you just an idea for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so which will just give you some hint. One second, password. So the ID, the login ID password will be like your remote desktop, so you can log in from anywhere. Only what you need is internet connection, that's all, and your machine. Yeah, that is also required. Okay, so in SPRO, if you want to go to this MSMP, so one way is going like SPRO, access control, you go
Mm-hmm.
workflow for access control,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you go for maintain MSMP workflow, you can find that screen, 7-step screen. So this is your 7 steps for MSMP workflow. Okay, if you go for display change,
Mm-hmm.
so then you have to make changes. So here you see like these are the process ID. This is for access request. If you are using HR, then you use this one. Okay, if you want to assign a control to a user, okay, control assignment workflow. So these many workflows given by the SAP for different module, but since we are using ARM, so 99% we are modifying the customization into this section. These are the simple one. We are normally not do any customization. So if you want to make the changes for access request process, so you select this one, go for the next. So here you create your own BRF plus rule and add here. Okay, I'm just giving you a hint. Okay, it is not
Yeah.
okay. In agent we are defining the different type of agent, whether it is a manager, okay, who will be the different type of agent, who will be the security owner, or even we can create our custom agent, for example, like this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that also we can define the different type of agent. Okay, and variable and template. Okay, so here for example this is a template ID, and here if you see these are the specific template is given here. So if any if the GRC request is closed, this is the kind of template. Okay, if any request is submitted, this is the kind of template we have. Okay, so just copy this. So if suppose you want to see what is there in this template content, what is the form of letter we have, so go to SC61 transaction code. Okay, if you go here submit, and here you have to select general text, and if you go for display, it will give you that it will be going in this way, hi, first name, last name. So this is the kind of variable. First,
Okay.
the people who is submitting the request, his first name, last name, and the user ID will be there. Okay, request number this, so this is also a kind of variable, has been created, find the detail below, submission. Okay, submission number, best regard this access control.
So template will be same, but variable value will change according to the requester.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And so this is a standard template, but we learn that like when in the ARM how to change this template, and either also how to customize this template also.
Okay.
So how to change the standard one, and how to make the correction into this.
Okay.
Like here if you see now, this is the changes we have done here. So replacing the standard one or changing the standard one itself, both the things we learn. Okay, and here is the path, like different path we have, like if anybody request for the creation, how many approval level it has to go. So if it is a security one, it will go only for one level of approval. So it is like if we are changing, so it will be going for 3 level, for example, approval. So this is the kind of path we are creating. So so the linking will be dependent on what user is selecting in the request type. So that will be like if user is selecting create, go for create path. So that linking we do here. Okay, and in generate version, once we make any of the changes in anywhere, we have to save this, like here. Whenever we are saving, it will ask the transport request number. Okay, so just save into transport request number and release it later on once your changes is done.
Okay.
So we are not changing, so we are not transporting, so we are using this, otherwise use this one. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and once it is saved, you have to activate this as well.
Okay.
Okay,
So, if we are doing any changes only for production system, so
development,
yeah.
not we
Okay.
are not doing any change in production.
Okay. So,
Okay,
can we use do not transport if we are doing any changes directly in production?
yeah, ideally, technically you are right, but conceptually you are not right. Okay,
Okay.
Even the connector of quality and production is different, right?
yeah, but the name you can make same, na? You can encapsulate, right?
For one landscape, we can create one common connector like
Yes,
that. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so any question until here? Okay, so if no question, let's have it BRM. Okay, and then, or maybe let's have BRM tomorrow. Okay, or okay, let's have it. Let's finish it. 2 slides, na? Is it okay? 10 minutes. Okay with everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So let's have for BRM. So in BRM, like we create a naming convention, like if we are creating any role, if we are modifying any role, so we follow the role methodology. Okay, so we can define the different role methodology in this BRM module. Okay, naming convention, if you want to enable some settings, so it will be possible. Always we have to do the mandatory risk analysis before creating or before generating a role, and also we can utilize the workflow for approval. So if we utilize the role owner approval, so whenever we run the risk analysis, after that it will definitely go for role owner for approval. So that settings we can do in this BRM. These are the features are there. We can create SAP and non-SAP roles as well with the help of BRM. Okay, and even we have the business role concept in GRCs, or in BRM we are creating the business role. So business role, like it is a kind of encapsulated role. So if you want to create any role, like if suppose security roles, that this is just an example, like if you create a security role, so if any new person who is joining into the security department or security team, is ID required in all the 3 system or 4 systems, for example, right? So if we not create a business role, so we have to add 4 times his system ID, 4 times his role, right? Respective role, security role in each of the system. So we have to add 8 entry into the access request form, right? So to save the time, what we do, we create one same simple name like a security role and add all these 4 system and 4 roles once. So whenever any new person is coming, we instead of adding 8 entry, we add the security role as a business role. So system will automatically add those entry. Okay, map this 8 entry and create his ID in all the 4 system and add these 4 roles to the security person. Okay, so that is the meaning of business role. So the business role never exists in any of the satellite system. It is a kind of virtual role which exists only into GRC system. Clear? Okay.
Yeah. Because then how access will be provided to the user in all the satellite systems?
So once we add the business role, na, so
Yeah.
business role is linked with all the 4 system and 4 roles in GRC.
Hmm.
So once we submit it, na, system will automatically pick those system and roles and create ID into individual system.
is that like composite roles?
It is like a composite role only, but the composite role is an actual role which exists into the satellite system, whereas the virtual role never exists anywhere. It cannot be assigned to any user. But once we add business role into your access request form, user will get all the roles which is added, all the roles, all the systems where it is linked with your business role.
Okay.
Even we can create actual roles through BRM, right?
Yes, yes. Actual role only we are creating with BRM. Like all the type of role, like single role, master derived role, or composite role, that we are creating
Okay.
with the help of BRM.
Okay.
Okay, all the naming convention, risk analysis we do for BRM. All things we do with the BRM only. Okay, any question? Okay, so these are the specific advantage, like standardized user provisioning, deprovisioning process we can do. We can run the periodic risk analysis, like whether the risk is properly given to the user or no. That timely we can monitor. Even we can have the governance process for like a manager approval, and also for the technical owners, like manager also can approve, and also your role owner also can approve. So it will be closed loop between the business and the technical users. Okay, streamline the role definition. So if we define the role naming convention, it will be a streamline. So nobody can deviate or make the mistake for creating any roles. So it has to forcefully follow that naming convention. Okay, then centralized business role management with embedded risk analysis. So we can create business role also, and on business role also we can run the risk analysis. Analyze role uses for optimal assignment. So we can see, or we can run the report and find which role is used most number of time, which role is not used at all. So delete those roles which is not used in the production system for many years or many months. Okay, like that we can find this information also with the GRC reports. Single interface for user access management, process control, and risk management and functionality, it is also there. So if we enforce the segregation of duty before doing the role development or role creation, so that means always our role will be risk free, SOD risk free, right? Because before creating itself we are running the risk analysis report. Then the next point is role comparison. So we can do the role comparison, because if we are creating role using GRC, so we can compare the role in the backend system, whether the role is manually changed there or not, and in case of any changes is there, we can sync also with the help of GRC itself. Okay, centralized emergency access management. So it will track all the approval, all the activity done by the super user management, super user ID. Okay, so now my turn is over, your turn is came now. So now you have to tell me which access control module allow you to manage rule set and mitigation. Is it user access management, emergency access management, access risk analysis, or business role management? Which module this is?
I
Access
think,
risk analysis.
yeah, ARA.
Mm-hmm. Any other choice from anyone? Okay, Anu, Girish, is it correct?
Yes, ARM.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, you are right. So that means it's good for me, good for you also. You are understanding me. That's good. Okay, so that's all for today's. Okay, so this is about the introduction of GRC 12.0. So any final question before we close? So I will share. Yeah.
Sure. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah, because like I will connect you after this meeting.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so you connect me after the meeting if anybody want to talk to me. That's okay. And tomorrow then we are going to start like a post installation steps, and I will share you this document with you for your reference. Okay.
So Vikas, you will share this document, means this
Yeah.
one today, or all the documents in one go
No.
at the end of the session?
No. This will send you right now, means after the class only.
Okay.
But today only I will share sometime.
Okay, fine.
So whatever we going to start, that will share you in the beginning itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this will give you some reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then we'll meet tomorrow, same time, 7 to 8. Today is a little lengthy class, but it's okay. And then we'll see the things. Okay. Okay, Anu, Anchitya, or anyone? Everything is okay?
Yes, okay, because thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, take care.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Vikas. Bye bye.
yeah. Hello. Yeah, yeah. Tell me this. Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so